Hey everyone, Ryan from Ebike Escape, and today we are looking into the electric bike offerings by Ride1Up. So over the past month or so, I have been digging into all sorts of different e-bike brands, really trying to figure out what they all offer, and I came upon Ride1Up, and what intrigued me the most was the price point of all their bikes. And I wanted to do a quick video, number one, because this is timely, because they just released two new models this week, and two, as I mentioned, the affordable prices. I definitely think folks should be considering these bikes as an option given the price point compared to others with similar price ranges. And so I just thought it'd be interesting to call them out in a quick video. I will put links to all these bikes in the description. Just a note, they are out of stock out of all these. In some cases, they're taking pre-orders, so they're not yet available, some until June or thereabouts. And I took all these data points from their website, and I will also include a link to the spreadsheet if you're interested in really comparing these bikes side by side. Both in the description of this video as well as back on my website, Ebike Escape. I know that the company has been updating their website, so if there's something that isn't correct here, I will update the spreadsheet so that will have the most up-to-date information. I will also post any updates into the comment section of this YouTube video. So I want to first talk about the new models. So the Core 5 is a brand new model, just announced, like I said, this week. This video is being recorded on April 30th. And the LMT'D, I assume this is limited, that's their higher end model. So they now are offering 4 different models. And before I kind of get into some of the components, I just want to note, I'm not an expert in all of these components. I am learning a lot about these. So if I say something incorrectly, please correct me in the comments. So as we're going through this, you'll note that I have a few things highlighted, and the reason for that is I just wanted to make sure that I'm calling them out as I go through this spreadsheet. And so on the cheaper side, you have the Core 5, and then you have the 500 series, 700 series, and then the limited. So they start at $1095, which I think is a really great price point. There's not a lot of options available at this price point, so I think that is going to make this model very accessible to a lot of folks. And then it goes up from there, $1195, $1495, and then $1795 for the limited. We're going to focus on really what you're getting for each of these step ups. Frame-wise, I think the only things worth mentioning here is the 700 series does come in a really nice step-through option. So that's great if it's going to be easier for you to get on a step-through frame. Definitely consider that one. The Core 5 also has a lower step option, so there's 2 different frames available for that bike. They're all Class 3 e-bikes, which allows you to go up to 28 miles per hour with pedal assist or 20 miles per hour with throttle. On the weights, I was actually pretty surprised on the Core 5, 48 pounds, on the 500 series going up to 53, and then 700 series, I imagine, with kind of, you can see just the frame is a little bit bigger. It has all the battery, the bigger battery, all encased there, so I imagine that adds a little bit to the weight. And then, of course, you have slightly different motors on some of these. So imagine that's kind of adding that extra weight, so something to keep in mind. And then the limited, and I should mention that 62 pounds, I'm guessing, is probably with the rack and those sort of things as well. And then with the limited, all the way down to 51 pounds. Weight capacity, not much to talk about there, 275 pounds on the Core 5 500 series, and then it goes up to 300 pounds on the 700 series and the limited. So when we're looking at motors, the Core 5, the 500 series, and the 700 series all have 500 watt geared hub motors. The biggest difference, according to their website, is that the Core 5 only has 750 watt peak power, whereas both the 500 series and the 700 series have 1,000 watts peak. Now, when you jump up to the limited, you get a 750 watt motor that also peaks at 1,000 watts, but the biggest difference here is that it has 1,000 newton meters of torque. So it's going to get you going a lot faster than all of the rest of the models. That's why they brand this as their fastest model of the bunch. Jumping down to the batteries, I think the main thing here is there wasn't some details on like the cells that they're using in the 500 series, but you can see in the 700 series they're using Samsung, and on the Core 5 they're using LG cells, and then the Limited is also using Samsung cells. So the Limited and the 700 series are going to have that same battery capacity, and then you step down as you go to the 500 series, and then the Core 5 has the lowest. So you spend a little bit more and you get a little bit more range. Again, range is a really hard thing because it totally depends on how much you're pedaling, but there's some estimates there, 30 to 50 miles on the high end, and then if you're looking at the Core 5, you're looking at 20 to 40 miles, and then a slight step up with the 500 series. On the pedal assist sensor, the main thing to mention here is the Limited has a torque sensor. So you're getting that when you spend a little bit more. Personally, I haven't tried a torque sensor. I'm really interested to compare the two. We have a Ride1Up, and I'm very familiar with how the cadence sensors feel. So just something to keep in mind. Displays, I'm not sure there's much to talk about there. It's hard without seeing the actual display. It looks like on the Core 5 you might be getting a little bit more basic, and then you're getting color displays on the higher end for the 700 series and the Limited. On the higher end here again, 700 series, you're getting hydraulic brakes instead of the mechanical disc brakes with the 500 series and the Core 5. And then the Limited also has dual piston hydraulic brakes. So something to consider for sure. Braking is obviously, I think, really important. I think just generally when I'm looking at this, I think for the 700 series, you're really getting quite a bit of value for not that much more cost. So I think the hydraulic disc brakes are definitely a nice upgrade there. Looking at the forks, the three here, I believe are all just coil suspension forks, whereas you get an air suspension with the Limited. Again, I have no experience with these specific ones, but I do believe that Limited is an upgraded suspension fork there. And then tires, you get the Supermoto by Schwalbe on the 700 series and the Limited. And then just talking about riding, comfort-wise or the style of riding, whether you want an upright position, the Core 5, as you can see in the picture, that has those swept back handlebars. That's going to be a really approachable feeling for riders. You're not as aggressive, more upright position. On the 500 series, you actually get the option, so you get straight rider or the Cafe Euro style is what they call it on their website. And then on the 700 series, you have on the step-through frame, you have the City Cafe upright handlebars is what they call them. And then on the XR frame, which is the one pictured there, you get more of the standard style bars. And then on the Limited, you just get the standard handlebars that most people are familiar with. Talking about fenders, and I actually really like that when companies have these included, because you don't have to worry about shopping around making sure something's going to fit. So the 700 series comes with both that rack as well as the fenders. So that's a great addition. With the 500 series, those are both optional upgrades. I would think with maybe the Core 5 that's going to be an option. Not sure. It's not an option now on their website. And then they're same with the limited. There's not an option to add those. So you're only, according to the information currently on the website, you're only getting them included with the 700 series. And it is $80 extra for the 500 series. We're talking about shifting. They all have rear derailleurs. You can see that the Core 5 has Shimano Altus, and in the 500 series, 700 series have Acera. And then on their website, they list the Shimano RD M70. I looked that up. It looks like that's Altus. If you go to Shimano's website, you can really view the hierarchy of what are the higher qualities components. And basically, these all fall around the same. So I don't know if there's too much of a difference between these, at least according to the Shimano website. They kind of rank them very similar. And then I think getting down to kind of the last things I think are really worth highlighting here. On the 500 series, you can see that it has the integrated front light. I believe it's the same light that comes with the 700 series. And then in addition, with the 700 series, you also get that rear light. I believe that is because it already comes with the rack. I'm not sure when you buy the rear rack for the 500 series if it comes with that rear light or not. And I think those are all the items I want to highlight. I have the other specs here where they are provided on the website, but hopefully that kind of gives you an idea of what you're kind of getting for the extra cost when you're looking at these bikes from Ride1Up. Again, I really set on kind of that $1,500 price point. I think there's some really interesting offerings from all sorts of e-bike brands around that $1,500. And I hope to kind of compare some of these models side by side. For instance, I see a lot with bikes that are around $1,500. They don't necessarily have hydraulic disc brakes. So that's something I think you're getting more in addition to this. The other thing I'd like to call out a little bit with both the Core 5 and the 700 series, and for that matter, the Limited, you can see the battery is actually integrated into the frame, and it really looks a lot sleeker that way. I love that. I think sometimes people aren't necessarily even going to know it's an e-bike unless they're really looking close. Obviously, with the 500 series, you can kind of see the battery pack a little bit more. I will mention here on the battery data here, they're using Rienshin. My understanding is that, these are the cases, that's the brand of case. So I believe if you're, for instance, you're looking at, different batteries, you might actually be able to get these batteries that are in that case from a third party. So something to consider. I haven't looked at it in depth, but definitely something to keep in mind. That's one thing I think about a lot is, you want to make sure that you're buying an electric bike from a brand. If they have a proprietary battery where you're not going to have to rip everything apart and kind of redo your entire setup if they were, for instance, to go out of business. So just something I keep in mind. And yeah, hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, give me a thumbs up, and I'll continue to do more like this. I recently did a comparison between the Rad Runner from Rad Power Bikes as well as the Super 73 Z1, both the budget kind of moto style brands, and this is kind of a continuation of that, but really focusing on the Ride1Up bikes. I hope to ride some of these bikes. I'm really excited about the price points that they're offering, so definitely check them out. Again, the links will be in the description below. Thanks again for watching this video. Hey everyone, hope you enjoyed that video. If you want to support what I'm doing with Ebike Escape, here are 3 easy ways. Number 1, use my link in the description. When you're buying a Rad Power Bike, you will earn a $50 Amazon gift card. I will receive one as well. Number 2, view my list of recommended accessories. You can find this list at ebikeescape.com. Click on e-bike accessories right at the top, otherwise link in description. Number 3, if you own a Rad Power Bike, you can join the forum at radowners.com. Thanks again for watching.